Hi everyone, today I'm gonna show you how I knit such lace pattern socks. The length of the sock is 22 centimeters and it will fit a foot size 35-36, which is 22-23 centimeters. For knitting I will use 5 needles, 3 millimeters, a hook, some markers, yarn 390 meters per 100 grams, 49% of wool, 51% of acrylic, and some additional pink acrylic thread. I'm going to cast on 56 stitches plus extra stitch for joining my knitting in a round. So for the first, the second and the third needle I will cast on 14 stitches and for the fourth needle 15 stitches. Don't forget about an extra stitch. For joining knitting in a round, the working thread should go out of a needle which is in your right hand, then put the needles in a square. Make sure that all the stitches are pointing in the same direction and they are not twisted. Loosen a loop a little on the needle in your right hand. Insert the right needle to the first loop of the left needle like you're going to purl it. Then slip it to your right needle. With the needle in your left hand, enter the first loop on the needle in your right from the front and bring it over the top of that loop you moved from the left hand needle. Drop the loop from the needle in your left and return the loop from the right to the left hand needle. Tighten the thread tail. I'm going to knit a cuff, but before I will do it, please pay attention to the position of the needles. That needle, the main needle I will use, it should be under two other needles. In this way, it will be more comfortable to knit. Which way I will knit? I will use every pattern 2 knit stitches, 2 purl stitches, and I will repeat that pattern till the desirable length. All 4 needles have even amount of stitches. That is why the beginning of each needle starts with 2 knit stitches and ends with 2 purl stitches. To make the cuff of my sock, I needed 9 rounds of main thread, 3 rounds of additional, 3 rounds of main, 3 rounds of additional, 3 rounds of main thread, and then the leg pattern. I have 9 rounds, and starting with the first needle, I will insert an additional thread. For your convenience, you can put a marker to know which needle is which, but it is really easy to differentiate it. Look on the tail you have. The needle from the left of the tail is the first needle, then moving clockwise is the second, the third, and the fourth needle. I will continue to knit every pattern, to knit stitches, to purl stitches. To knit the first stitch on the first needle, I take both threads, the main one and additional, and knit the first stitch. To knit the second stitch, I take additional thread and the tail of additional thread and knit them together to hide the tail at once inside the knitting. I'm going to knit 3 rounds with additional thread, but I wouldn't cut the main one, and when I need to insert again the main, I will knit the first stitch on the first needle with both threads, the main and additional. The same like I showed you here. The cuff is ready. Now let's start to knit the leg pattern. Pattern consists of 4 rounds and 7 stitches. The first stitch in the pattern is a knit stitch. Then 2 next stitches I knit together, inclined to the right side. Yarn over. Next, a knit stitch. Yarn over. Now 2 stitches together, inclined to the left side. For this I turn them and knit together on the back loops. A knit stitch, and this is the first round of the pattern. Now again, let's repeat it. A knit stitch, 2 stitches together, inclined to the right side, yarn over, a knit stitch, yarn over, 2 stitches together, inclined to the left side, a knit stitch, and repeat this pattern till the end of this round. The second round of the pattern only needs stitches. The third round. First 2 stitches knit together, inclined to the right side. Yarn over, then 3 knit stitches, 1, 2, and 3, then yarn over, 2 stitches together, inclined to the left side. Return them and knit on the back loops. Again, repeat the pattern. 2 stitches together, incline to the right side. Yarn over, 3 knit stitches, yarn over, 2 stitches together, incline to the left side, and repeat this pattern till the end of the round. The 4th round, only knit stitches. The leg part is ready. I repeated the pattern 3.5 times. Now I will use only the first and the second needle to form a heel flap. The first row of the heel flap only needs stitches, so only knit stitches on the first needle and knit stitches on the second needle. To work with this part of the sock, use only 2 needles. At the end of the row, you should have 28 stitches on your needle, and now we will work only with these 28 stitches. Now turn your knitting to the back side and purl all the stitches. Continue to knit back and forth, 1 knit, 1 purl row, while you wouldn't have 5 centimeters, and stop your knitting on a knit row. In my case, heel flap has 18 rows. Let's knit a foot. My heel flap has 5 centimeters, and I stop my knitting on a knit row as I told you. To form the foot, I need to share 28 stitches of my heel flap into 3 parts, 2 sides and the middle. I cannot divide the 28 stitches equally between 3 parts, so I gave 9 stitches to each side and 10 stitches to the middle. Always when I cannot divide a heel flap into 3 equal parts and, for example, 1 stitch left, like in this case, I give it to the middle part, but if 2 stitches left, I share them between sides. For example, 32 stitches I will share 11 stitches to the sides and 10 stitches to the middle. Turn the knitting to the purl row and purl 9 stitches of the first side till the first marker. Purl 9 stitches of the middle part and the last 10 stitch of the middle part purl together with the first stitch of the side. This stitch belongs to the middle part, so this way I will reduce amount of stitches from the both sides. This side has 8 stitches and the middle has 10 stitches. Return knitting to the knit side and slip the first stitch to the right needle. This is the first stitch of the middle part. Next stitches knit till you wouldn't have 1 stitch left before the marker. take away the marker. Under the front loop, slip the 10th stitch of the middle. Knit the first stitch of the side and bring the slipped stitch over the knitted and drop it. This way reduce the side of the foot in a neat row. Return the knitting to the back side and do the same. Slip the first stitch, then purl all the rest stitches till the last one. And the last stitch purl together with the first stitch of the side. Now this side has 7 stitches. Turn the knitting, slip the first stitch, knit the rest stitches till the last one, slip the 10th stitch of the middle, knit the first stitch of the side, bring the slipped stitch over the knitted stitch and drop it. Turn the knitting to the back side and repeat the same. Slip the first stitch, purl all the rest stitches till the 10th stitch of the middle, and 10th stitch purl together with the first stitch of the side. This side is reduced and it has 6 stitches. Turn knitting again. Continue to reduce the sides of the foot while you wouldn't have 10 stitches of the middle part on your needle. I have 10 stitches on my needle. To form an instep, I will pick up stitches with the other needle along the edge side of the sock heel flap. I will show you the way I usually pick up stitches for instep. Insert the needle under the 2 strands of the edge stitch and pick up the first stitch. Then you can see the connection between 2 stitches is like 2 threads, and you need to insert the needle there between 2 threads and pick up the next stitch. Then pick up the 3rd stitch from the next edge stitch. Here is the group of 3 stitches. Then insert the needle to the next edge stitch and pick up the next stitch. Again, between 2 stitches there is a connection. I will insert the needle between 2 threads in that connection and pick up the next stitch and the next stitch from the next edge stitch. Insert the needle into the first edge stitch, taking both strands, pick up 1 stitch. The next stitch, pick up inserting the needle into the connections of 2 edge stitches. Work with the next edge stitch and pick up the 3rd stitch. The 4th stitch, pick up of the next edge stitch, the 5th of the connection between 2 edge stitches, the 6th of the next edge stitch, and continue this way, forming the groups of 3 picked up stitches. The last stitch I'm picking up of the stitch of the previous round. 13 stitches picked up on my needle, and I'll do the same from the other side of the heel flap. Now I will work with the third and the fourth needles. According to the pattern, I should knit all the stitches on these needles. I'll pick up stitches of this side of the heel flap, and the amount of stitches should be the same from the both sides. Pick up the first stitch of the previous round to avoid a gap in this place. Then work with the group of 3 stitches. Pick up the second stitch of the first edge stitch. The third one of the connection between 2 stitches. The fourth stitch of the second edge stitch. Continue to pick up the group of 3 stitches while you wouldn't have 13 stitches on the needle. Coming to the next needle with 10 stitches on, which formed the foot of the sock, share them between the needles with pick-up stitches. Continue the round knitting the first 5 stitches of the foot knit. Next 5 stitches move to the next needle with the picked up stitches. Now on the first and the second needle I will have 18 stitches. To form an instep, I'll decrease 4 stitches from the both side of the heel flap to have 14 stitches on the both needles. The needle I'm working with now has 18 stitches. Knit 16 of them. The last 2 stitches knit together. Now this needle has 17 stitches. Keep working with the third and the fourth needle. I will repeat the third round of the pattern. The next needle, which is the first needle, I will decrease the stitch at the beginning of the needle. The first stitch, slip, the next stitch, knit, bring the slip stitch over knitted, and all the rest stitches of this needle knit. Now I have 17 stitches on the first needle. The second needle, knit 15 stitches, the last 2 stitches knit together. There are 16 stitches on my needle. All the stitches on the third and the fourth needles I'll knit following the pattern. Coming back to the first needle, the first stitch, slip, the second stitch, knit, then bring the slipped stitch over the knitted, and knit the rest of the stitches on the needle. Continue to knit the rounds, reducing the stitches on the first and the second needles till each of them wouldn't have 14 stitches. On the third and the fourth needles, follow the pattern. When all the needles will have 14 stitches on, keep on knitting the first and the second needles. On the third and the fourth needles, follow the pattern to get the desirable length of the sock. In my sock, I repeated the pattern 13.5 times if to count from the rib. The last part of the sock. Let's decrease the toe and the sock almost done. I will start to decrease stitches from the second needle, but it's not a rule. You can do it with any needle you like. I knitted 14 stitches of the first needle. Now I will knit 11 stitches of the second needle. At the end of the needle, I will decrease one of the stitches. 3 stitches left, 2 of them I will knit together, and the last one, the third, I will knit. The third needle, I will decrease stitches at the beginning of the needle. The first stitch, knit it. The second stitch, slip it. The third, knit it, and then bring the slipped stitch over the knitted stitch. And continue knitting 11 stitches. The fourth needle, I will decrease 1 stitch at the end of the needle. Now knit 11 stitches. Three stitches left at the end, 2 of them knit together, The third one, the last, knit. The first needle, I will make a decrease at the beginning of the needle. First stitch, knit, the second, slip, the third, knit, and then bring the slip stitch over the knitted stitch. Continue to knit 11 stitches. Was the first round of reduction. Each needle has 13 stitches. Next round, knit all the stitches on the all needles. This way the toe part will smoothly decrease. Repeat the first round of reduction. On the first and third needle, decrease one stitch at the beginning of the needle. The second and the fourth needle, decrease the stitch at the end of the needle. Knit the next round and then again the round of reduction and again one knit round. Keep on knitting such way while you wouldn't have 3 stitches on each of your needle. Cut the thread and with the help of the hook or a sewing needle bind off the stitches. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was helpful for you. Have a nice day.